chemical reaction. What is a chemical reaction? A chemical reaction is when substances are combined with other substances in order to create a whole new substance. For example, salt is a product of a chemical reaction. Let's start at the beginning with matter. Everything that exists in the world is considered matter. What is matter? Matter is made out of tiny particles called atoms and molecules. Everything that we touch, eat, and even the air around us is matter. Everything that exists, occupies space, and has some sort of mass is considered to be matter. Mass is how much matter something contains. States of matter is also very important. Think of solids, liquids, and gas states, and how they change into each other. The process of when a solid state changes to a liquid state is called melting. A solid is usually heated to start the melting process. The temperature at which a solid changes to a liquid is called the melting point. The process of changing a liquid state to a solid state is called freezing. The liquid is freezed to start the process of freezing. The temperature at which a liquid changes to a solid is called the freezing point. The process of a solid changing to a gas is called sublimation. An example of sublimation is when dry ice melts and turns into gas vapors. The process of changing from a gas state to a solid state is called deposition. We often see this in the form of frost, when water vapor turns into frost because of the cold weather. The process of changing from a liquid state to a gaseous state is called evaporation. The liquid is usually heated or exposed to warm temperatures to start the evaporation process. Okay, let us move on to elements. What are elements? There are 118 elements in the world. Scientists create a table to group all 118 elements by similar elements. The sequence of elements is determined by the element's atomic number, which is displayed on the top left of each element. Each element is determined by differences in their atomic structure. The number of neutrons, protons, and electrons are different for each individual element. Each element has an atomic number, which represents the number of protons that the element has. Each element has an abbreviation using letters, such as nitrogen being represented by the letter N. A periodic table is used by many people even today to determine what type of group each element belongs to and to predict its properties. Let's talk about solubility. Solubility refers to a substance's ability to dissolve into a liquid. Dissolving means that the solid completely disappears into the liquid and there are barely any traces of the solid left. The thing that we are trying to dissolve is called the solute. The liquid that we are trying to dissolve the solute in is called the solvent. If a substance easily dissolves into a water solvent, it is considered to be soluble. An example of a soluble solid is sugar, where the solvent can be water. The sugar completely dissolves in the water. If a substance does not dissolve into a water solvent, it is considered insoluble. An example of this is when sand is a solute and water is a solvent. The sand does not dissolve into the water. Now that we know all of the background information, let's finally move on to the understanding of what chemical reactions really are. Chemical reactions are when two or more substances go through a reaction in order to create a new substance. The final product usually has different properties than the substances. The substances used for the reaction are called reactants. So why do we need chemical reactions? We want to make use of the products that come from chemical reactions. Did you know some candies are created using chemical reaction? Things that we use every day such as paint, salt, and crayons are also made with the help of chemical reactions. Chemical reactions are all around us, in our science labs, in our kitchens, and even in nature. Chemical reactions are vital to our everyday lives. After all, the air that we breathe is a product of chemical reaction called photosynthesis. In photosynthesis, plants will absorb water, carbon dioxide, and sunlight in order to create glucose and oxygen. Like what you've learned? Be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more future content.